So
Woohoo!
there's nobody watching.
I just love this. Y'all know the drill. Just gotta go on. Yeah! See, check that out.
Oh yeah.
Why
It's in Spanish.
Why is it in Spanish?
I look good.
Translate from Spanish.
Why is it in Spanish?
I don't know. Maybe they know that you are Portuguese.
I am not Portuguese. I'm
know.
Italian,
I don't know.
but I can speak Portuguese and pretend that I am from Portugal or Brazil.
Come check out my podcast. I promise. It's
Oh, we have one viewer. Hello,
Not-
first viewer.
hello.
I don't know who you
I
are.
promise it's not
Possibly my mother?
actually
Oh, two
in
viewers.
Spanish.
Two viewers.
Oh.
Nuestro podcast no es en el español.
Okay, hashtag
Hashtag.
lives library.
Hashtag livers. Which is a title that I am not too fond of, to be honest.
I think it's hilarious. When they first said that,
Uh-huh.
I thought it was hilarious.
Livers.
I don't know what else to
I would rather be like a
Oh.
pancreas or maybe a spleener. That works too.
I don't think it does.
They're all organs.
That's not how it works. No, I don't think that is how it works, but sure. Come on. Ugh.
Millennials.
Yeah, it finally is live. Oh man. Okay.
Refresh.
Refresh on here. Okay.
You got a bay or not?
Or no. Come on. For some reason, sometimes it doesn't want to post on here, which is just annoying. Okay, I'm gonna quickly fix this. Yeah, we're actually live though.
Yes.
Mm-mm, mm-mm,
2 people watching.
mm-mm, mm-hmm.
You got a bay? You know, I used to not like
Jake, Spanish?
Spanish. ¿Por qué está en el español? No sé.
No say.
Yo voy a hablar en español.
Ah, hold on. Copy link.
Hasta el fin de nuestro podcast.
What?
I said I will speak in Spanish until the end of the podcast. End of our
Okay.
podcast.
I only heard the end of the podcast and I was like, what? It's not the end of the podcast. What are you talking about?
Until. Hasta.
But I didn't hear the whole sentence. I only heard part of it.
Yo no hablo
Taste.
español, pero puede entender mucho.
Gonna work. Okay, there we go. Yeah.
Okay.
Select all.
Time to share.
Come check out my podcast. Yay. That's all I wrote on.
Are you posting another one?
I just posted it on here.
Oh.
Yeah. Look, this is my pinned one.
Don't cry.
It was really though.
You know, I had a really, really messed up idea because that's just kind of my sense of humor of randomly sending you Snapchats of Alan Rickman's face.
You don't understand. I genuinely get teared up. Set a temporary profile picture to express a moment in your life. Facebook is starting to really irritate me, you guys.
Well, it's not telling you to do it because you have to.
I know, but that's just annoying. Really?
Bear with us. We will start
Okay.
talking for real in a moment.
We are actually going live now. I just have to hit recordando.
Hablando español.
And we are live. Welcome everybody to Liv's Library. Woohoo! First of all, I'm going to introduce you to my delightful co-host right here. This is my friend Nicolas.
Hello.
I always just call you Nicolas.
You can call me whatever you want.
Okay, cool. I call him Nicolas. His name is Nicholas or Nick. And she's awesome possum. Yes, truth. Also, we are going to quickly announce what our shirts say because I think they're epic and awesome, and the people on the audio don't get to see the awesomeness of our outfits.
Yes.
So we are going to tell you what they say for those of you in the audience. Audience.
I know. Okay, my shirt says "You got a bae or nah," which is a reference to social media, specifically Vine, which is where this phrase originated.
Bae. I love it.
They didn't originate there.
No, it did not, but I think that it's awesome. Okay, this one, it says, "No, you got dressed in the dark," in a little like quote bubble. And for those of you that watch Grace Helbig, this is one of her limited edition Represent sweaters. She ended up doing some DIY clothing for, I don't remember what the actual video was for, but she was doing some DIY clothing. And they were just, she was making fun of fashion gurus and everything else, and just in her own sarcastic self, and I loved it. Well, she ended up loving this, and people actually requested this phrase on a t-shirt, which is what she originally made it as. She's like, why not do a sweater? Because I like wearing sweaters all the time. So that's what she did. And now there are a limited amount of us that actually have this sweater. And by a limited amount, I think there's like a couple thousand people that have these, but still limited-ish.
Yeah, they're all special, unique snowflakes.
Yes, exactly. So welcome to Liv's Library. I am removing something from my arm.
Gross.
Sorry.
It's all right.
I was planning on taking that off beforehand, but I just realized I still had red on my arm because I hadn't taken that thing off. It's Monday. I donated plasma. Y'all know this. So there you go. That's what that sound was. I was removing something.
I do not donate plasma. I don't really need to right now, but it would probably be a good idea.
I'm not sure why, but Jake called you evil.
Evil? I'm pretty sure you've met me in person. I'm not an evil person.
Also, Bob Saget just joined us, and he was very excited and emphatic to say livers.
Yay!
So welcome, Bob Saget. It's good to have you back.
Bob Saget finally gets to see me in person.
This is someone else who gets on the comments very often and joins in the conversation on my live chat. So I love that. Love seeing the comments go back and forth. So this is Nick, for those of you that get to see him in our live chat. Okay, so like we start all of our podcasts, there are some dying questions that we need to ask you.
Okay.
Are you ready for this?
Yes.
You've seen them, so you might know what's coming, but you still have to do. People don't seem to understand this. This is a speed round. You have to answer quickly. Okay?
I've actually never been at the beginning of the podcast ever, so I don't think I've actually seen these.
Yes, good. Then it's still a surprise to you. Okay, question number 1 is, what is your favorite quote?
My favorite quote is, gosh, I can't remember right now. I'm failing the speed part.
This is always the first question, and it legit throws everyone off so much.
I'm going to cop out and say, Yoda, do or do not, there is no try.
Always a good one to cop out with. Okay, here's another one. It's your current favorite song.
Current favorite song, Victorious by Panic at the Disco.
Oh, such a good song. Okay, what is a unique fact about yourself?
Unique fact about myself, my last name actually means my first name, too. My parents didn't know that when they named me, but it's okay. I don't judge them.
Really?
Yeah. Mastrocola is Italian, and it's short for Maestro Nicola. And Nicola is Nicholas in Italian. So my name translated to English is Nicholas Master Nicholas.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, this one is one you do to the camera on the count of 3. Well, actually, not even on the count of 3. You just do it as soon as I tell you.
Okay.
So be looking straight at the camera. Make sure that you are kind of in the middle. And you have to give them your best funny face. That one and the next one are my favorites. Okay, here's one for the audio listeners because they don't get to see your beautiful face being something other than beautiful. And you get to make your favorite animal sound.
Oh, boy. Chickens. I have a lot of practice. My family has chickens at their house in Pennsylvania.
There you go. Okay, these are two very important questions.
Okay.
What is your favorite cheese?
My favorite cheese, probably brie.
And your favorite cereal?
Favorite cereal, right now it's Honey Nut Cheerios.
Good choices. Okay, the last two questions coincide, and they are how we bring in the topic of our conversation. So, question number one, what is your favorite book right now, or like a book that you're reading currently that you're enjoying?
Well, I'm not going to count the book that I'm reading for what I want to do as a career, because that is not fun. But I've been trying to read How to Win Friends and Influence People, which
That's a good one.
I would go into, but I haven't actually gotten too far into it because I'm really bad at reading books.
Okay.
I have like 6 books that I've bought and I haven't read.
Okay, so this one's a it's a two-tiered question. The first tier is, how has that book influenced your life? As you're talking, I'm going to turn on a different light.
Yeah. Well, what I've read, I've got to say that probably it's opened my eyes up to the possibility of just being a more influential person. I don't want to be like a manipulative person through my influence, but I want to be somebody who influences people positively. And I feel that reading that book can definitely help with that.
That's awesome. I think that is a great thing to know and to learn. This one in particular, this podcast, we decided to name Friendship. So the way that we kind of transition into the topic itself, how would you say that the lessons taught in that book and what you're learning right now are impacting you in your friendships or in being able to make friends?
I would say, oh gosh, I'm drawing on pretty much nothing because I've read like 2 chapters. But can you repeat that question real quick?
How would you say that the book and the lessons that you're learning in the book are impacting you in the topic of friendship? Like, how would you say that that book is helping you either make friends or helping you better the friendships that you currently have?
I'd say it's making me realize the value of my friendships, plural, with people. I feel that having good friendships, healthy friendships, raise up both parties rather than just one person. So it's a really, really beneficial two-way street.
All right, perfect. And just for those of you guys that are just tuning in, the book that you're referencing is
How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie.
Okay, so for those of you that have read that book, I would love to hear what your thoughts are on the lessons that are taught, especially in regards to friendship. It is titled How to Win Friends and Influence People. So it is, the first thing is how to make friends. And so as we're talking, if you have any input as far as things that book in particular has taught you, or any book for that matter, if you're referencing a different book, or if you have other suggestions for things that we might be able to read to improve our knowledge on this topic, please, please, please comment, because we want to know. That's something that I'm super excited about, something that I'm wanting to transition this podcast into, because it is called Liv's Library, and I want to be able to learn new things, to be able to discuss things that I currently know, and then also to be able to encourage everyone else to go out and learn as well. And when you guys are helping me learn, then I'm able to in turn make that a two-way street, and we can kind of go back and forth. So I really do appreciate that, and I'm very, very excited for the way that this is going to go. So now we're going to kind of transition into the topic itself, which is friendship. For those of you that are just joining us, at the beginning, I always mention some sort of current event that's taking place. Typically, I try and make it somewhat relatable to the topic, and sometimes it doesn't work. But this one in particular, I think, does. Yesterday was February 14th. For a lot of people, this is a holiday that is very controversial. It typically has 2 different names. It's God-given name. it's birthright name. The name that this particular holiday is Valentine's Day. A lot of people reference it as Heart Day, as the day of love, or whatever else. And a lot of people who are single, like the two of us, we refer to it as, potentially, I don't necessarily refer to it as this, but a lot of people do, and I used to refer to it as Single Awareness Day.
Yes.
So in regards to Single Awareness Day, what did you end up doing?
Well,
Typically the whole weekend, because unfortunately it was Sunday, and
the whole
I think Valentine's Day became a whole weekend this year
Yeah.
because it was on a Sunday. So kind of what did you do this weekend?
Does Friday night count?
That's a good one. Yeah, Friday night counts.
Okay, Friday night I went to a wedding reception. So a great way to cap off that weekend. Saturday, I'm trying to remember what I did. Obviously, it wasn't very important because I can't remember what I did. This isn't good. What did I do on Saturday?
You went to a movie?
Oh, yes. I did go to a movie. I went to the gym in the morning, around noon actually. And then after the gym, I made some healthy food. And then I went to see Deadpool, which is a wonderful movie to go see during Valentine's weekend.
Well, that's why it opened for Valentine's.
It's about love. Definitely about love.
I don't know. I don't know. Well, it sounds like a great thing. For Single Awareness Day, for Valentine's Day, did you spend it with anyone special?
No, not really.
Oh, that's sad. Sorry, person that you went to see the movie with. You did spend it with somebody.
Well, that was the weekend. I spent a couple of hours with him. But he's a guy and not a girl, and that's not as desirable.
I said anyone important or special.
My friends are important.
Well, for my Valentine's Day, for the whole weekend, I kind of just spent time with my family. They're the ones that I care about most, and it was really good to be able to spend time with them. I worked, and then on Saturday, I really just kind of hung out with my family. I ran some errands and I did some different things. I did end up going to see a movie this weekend. I watched Zoolander 2. Highly recommend that one. It was really, really good. If you liked the first one, then you'll love the second one. I love Ben Stiller. I love everyone else in the movie. So I really do recommend it. Go see it. It was awesome. And then I actually got to spend some time with some friends of mine who I really enjoyed spending time with, you being one of them. And I really did enjoy spending time with both you and John and being able to talk and just kind of hang out for a few minutes. I mean, it wasn't a very long period of time, but it was still good to be able to kind of just hang out, especially where we haven't really done that in a while. So that was really good. So I think a couple things that we want to talk about as far as friendship goes is kind of maybe the beginning of friendship,
Yes.
The transition of friendship, the different ways that friendship goes. And I'm going to start it off with a quote. I don't remember exactly the word for word of it, but it's some people come in your life for a reason, some for a season, and some for life. And I think that that's super cool. Those people that come into your life for a reason, they're typically ones that come to you in a time of crisis or in a big shift in your life too. Like when you move or whatever else, obviously you need new friends. The reason is you are kind of alone and you need new people in your life. And those people either then fit into the other two categories. They're either in your life for a season or they're in your life for the rest of your life. And I think that that's really cool. Sometimes those seasons vary. They're really long seasons or they're really short seasons. And so I think we, with this podcast, I want to talk a little bit about how the transition of friendship happens. We'll kind of incorporate stories that we know from literature and from movies and being able to figure out maybe what to do in those situations. So you were telling me a little bit earlier about a transition in your life that kind of triggered a lot of change in that regard. So why don't you tell everyone a little bit more about that?
Okay, about 2 years ago, 2 years and 2 weeks, if we're going to be exact, I moved to Utah from Pennsylvania. It was about 8 months, I think. Yeah, it was 8 months after I got back from a 2-year service mission in Brazil for my church. And I did not have any friends here. I mostly moved out here because I kind of needed a new beginning, and I really liked Utah a lot. And when I first got here, I was kind of alone for a little bit. I have friends out here. My cousin, who's serving in the Air Force, is stationed here. Technically, he's deployed right now, but it's not important. And I did my best to find places where I could make new friends. And the best place for me was the local LDS Institute, which is pretty much like a religious school. And I was able to be around a lot of people my age, with like-minded goals and just really fun personalities. Can't think of anything else.
Well, so with that transition, did your views on what friendship was change?
A little bit. I mean, I kind of had the same views when I was in Pennsylvania. I was only able to see new people like once a week. And since there weren't too many new people to me, I met most of them very, very quickly. Being out here, there's a lot more people my age that I can easily become friends with. And I feel that making it out here and putting myself in places where I could meet a lot of people kind of broaden my views on how quickly I can become friends with people and what kind of relationships I can have with them.
Yeah, I think for me, well, so another question for you, I guess. Not only did you have a transition from high school to college, but you also had that transition from state to state. Do you feel like your I don't know how exactly to word this question. Do you feel like the relationships that you have now differ because you moved or because you're in a different age group? Do you feel like you'd have the same level of friendships back in Pennsylvania if you had stayed out there? Like, as far as friendship goes, and it's all speculation, but do you think that it's different for different reasons? And if so, what are those reasons?
Really, basically talking about what different factors influenced everything. Okay. I feel that I have stronger friendships out here than I would have in Pennsylvania. I have a lot of friends in Pennsylvania, people that I went to high school with, people that I met at church, and I wasn't able to see them as much as I've been able to see my friends out here. I definitely feel like having a car definitely helps with those friendships. And I'm definitely a lot more autonomous out here. Then I was an adult, I could do whatever I wanted. My parents really didn't mind as long as I didn't make a lot of noise. But Pennsylvania is a lot less dense than Utah. I feel like there's a lot more people per capita here than there are in Pennsylvania, even though the population here is lower than it is in Pennsylvania. But yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about like my transition in friendship and kind of where I was, where I am, and things that have changed that. First of all, going to reference a book that is my all-time favorite book, and something that impacts like everything in my life. Mm-hmm. Lord of the Rings, the whole series is phenomenal. I literally read it every Christmas because I have a long enough break that I can read all 4 books. And so that includes, it's The Hobbit and then all 3 of the trilogy. And I love those books, love everything about them. The movies I thought were very, very well done. Peter Jackson did a phenomenal job in telling the story and not leaving anything out of those books. But I think that's just, it was so, so cool. But in regards to friendship, a lot of people reference Samwise Gamgee and Frodo Baggins. And Samwise to me is the ultimate friend because he legit did not have to go. He was asked to go, but he was given so many outs. He had so many opportunities to turn back. He didn't have to be there. He didn't have a job to do. He didn't have any specific thing that he had to be there for. He was just asked to go and help out his friends. And then he made that promise, and then he just stayed there and he stuck through it. He's like, I'm going to put my life on the line for you. I'm going to be here for you. I'm going to do everything that I possibly can to make your life better. And so I always looked up to Sam, and I always wanted to be like him. And he was someone that I genuinely cared about and wanted to know more about and know more from. And so for me, as he was my hero all through, you know, junior high, high school, and even into college, that was something that I wanted to transition into, and I wanted to be like. And so I've always kind of tried to be that friend that was always there. Yeah. I want my friends to always know that I am there for you, because it really is genuinely, I am there for you. I love you. I care about you. And so I don't necessarily want you to feel like you're ever alone. That's very, very important to me. And so something that I noticed when I was in high school was I was putting everyone's needs above my own. And I was putting myself in situations where I was unable to really defend myself and my needs and my wants, because I was constantly putting everyone else before myself, which is a good thing. But then I was just in such a state of instability that after high school, I kind of wasn't sure where I stood anymore. I had created a fence of friends and a safe haven in the high school. I was specifically in choir and theater, and like those are the people I hung out with. And when everyone left, when graduation hit, I was like, man, what do I do now? And everyone else was like, I'm gonna go somewhere else and try something new. And I was thinking, I want to go somewhere else and try something new, but I want to make sure I have someone I know with me. And then I ended up going to a school where I knew a lot of people, but I realized that outside of high school that we weren't necessarily the same. We weren't as good of friends as I thought we were. And so that was a big reality check for me. And I ended up having to kind of reestablish myself and reinvent myself. And at first I continued to be that really, really social person. But again, I was putting everyone's needs before my own to such an extent that my mental health was not very good anymore. And I was really jeopardizing my sanity for other people. And I realized that that was not something I wanted to do anymore. And so it just in the last year, I've realized that I need to take time for myself, and I need to be away from myself, or be away from other people and be just with myself to help myself calm down. It helps a lot. I get social anxiety a lot, actually, and I just, rather than admitting that to people, and rather than being open to the fact that that's a thing and that's an okay thing, I was embarrassed by it. I wasn't quite sure what it was. And so then I put myself in a situation where I would just put on this huge smile and pretend like nothing was wrong, and then all of a sudden go into the bathroom and just break down and be crying. Or I'd get in my car and I'd drive home and I would just be crying because I just didn't have energy to even move. And I'd get home and I would just lay in bed and wasn't able to fall asleep because I struggle with insomnia as well. And so just these different things that my brain wouldn't shut off, and I didn't know how to handle myself. And then I finally got into a position where I spoke to some other people who were going through the same things. They were able to kind of explain to me what was happening. And then I realized, holy cow, I need to find time for myself. And I need to be my own best friend before I can have other friends. And it was when I finally figured this out that I realized, one, there were people in my life I needed to get rid of. And there were other people in my life that I needed to really strengthen those bonds of friendship with. And I'm still very, very bad at this. I'm really, really bad at any form of communication other than face-to-face. I'm really good at face-to-face. I love face-to-face. I'm really good at talking on the phone. I can spend several hours talking on the phone, or Skype or something like that. And I love Snapchat, because you can send videos, you can send pictures, and I feel like you send a picture with your face a big smile, and you know that what's being said is a smile. You send a picture with your face kind of looking like irritated, and you got that little like slanty sideways face for real, and you're like, really? Then everyone knows that that's how you're saying it. And in a text message and everything, like, I mean, a text message is my least favorite form of communication, because you also are limited in the amount of characters you can use before it goes into a second message. And I'm like, holy cow, I don't need 6-7 messages in my phone telling me that you're thinking about me. Like, and I don't want to seem that overbearing to someone else either. And so it makes me feel super, super stressed. I hate texting. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I'm going to actually post something on Instagram here in the next little while, in the next couple days, something I found, and I'm going to regram. And it talks about like how I want to have more like physical interaction. I want to have more face-to-face, less text to face. And I'm terrible at texting, and it's because I feel like that devalues the friendships I have. And so
I can attest to her aversion to texting. She's not good at it.
I'm terrible at it, but I've actually gotten so much better, and I am really, really proud of that. It's a goal that I set because I realize that that's how a lot of people do communicate, and so I try to do better with that. But it is my least favorite form of communication, and if I am with other people, I do not touch my phone. Like, I mean, I might pull up my phone to Snapchat, but that's when everyone else is also on their phone. You're not going to find me in the corner while I'm hanging out with friends texting. And even if you give me a call, if I'm with other people, chances are I'm not going to answer, because I want to indulge in the social interaction that I'm experiencing firsthand rather than being on my phone. And I don't know, that's how I value my friendships. And that's something that I've worked towards, because in high school and even in my first few years of college, I didn't quite understand that. And now I'm finally understanding how I work. I'm becoming my own best friend, and I'm realizing what things are most important to me and what things help me with communicating my love and my care and the level of a friendship when I'm actually putting forth that effort. So I think for me, that's something that I have learned through my life, and I've tried to form my life around Samwise Gamgee. And really, I mean, when he was hurt, he did, take care of his own injuries, but then he immediately turned around and like helped someone else. It wasn't like when in the third book, Shelob comes, this giant spider comes and like gets Frodo wrapped up in webbing, and Sam was leaving because he'd been told to. He'd been hurt one too many times, and then he's like, you know what? Like, no, I made a commitment. I'm going to stick to it. He comes back, and then he gets hurt in the process, but he still continues to fight, and he's like, you know what? I will be there. I'm going to take care of myself, and then I'm going to make sure that he's okay too, because that's what I need. And I've realized that when I'm in a healthy position myself, then I can help other people be in a healthy position and know how much I love them and how much I care about them, and then I'm there for other people when they need me. And so that's something that I've been able to kind of form over the past, few years, and especially this last year in just rediscovering myself. Now that I've kind of gone on that rant for a few minutes, what is your take? Do you maybe have a literary hero that you look up to, or someone that you've kind of tried to emulate your life towards, or maybe a similar experience as far as that goes?
I've been trying to think about something while you were talking, but obviously I didn't do a really good job at nailing something down. I did have a thought cross my head, cross my brain, whatever you want to say. Definitely, I would say Toy Story, specifically because of that song. You've Got a Friend in Me. While inanimate objects don't really reciprocate friendship,
what are you talking about? They totally do. My Winnie the Pooh Bear, he is always in my bed, ready to cuddle with me and give me all the love and attention that I need.
True. Specifically with the story of Toy Story, Woody was always looking out for Andy, and he cared. He cared for him and wanted to make sure that he was always happy. And I suppose that's a really good purpose in life to have, is to make your friends happy. Personally, I can't say that I've used that as something that I try to emulate in my life. specifically because of Toy Story, but in general, in most of my relationships in my life, I find that making the other party happy makes you happy in return. So the happier my friends are, the happier my coworkers are, the happier the people that I interact with are, happier I'm going to be because I'm under less stress and I don't have to worry as much. Because when other people are happy, they'll make you happy in return. It's kind of a really, really good cycle.
It's a healthy cycle. I think it is very, very important to make sure that you are happy and make sure that you're healthy, so that then you can help other people be healthy and happy as well. That's one thing that I try really, really hard to talk about on my Lives Life channel. One thing that I did a little while back was the You Are Beautiful series, and it's something that I am going to continue doing, but I've got some ideas as to how I'm going to continue doing that, which is why I've taken a break from doing that. But something I say at the end of every single one of my videos, every single one of my podcasts, I say, stay beautiful. And it's because I believe that everyone has an innate beauty within themselves. And once they realize that beauty within themselves, then they can go out and they can help other people. And that's where beauty is found. That's where friendship is found. That's where love is found. And it's where, everything is able to kind of encompass everything. I think that with friendship, a question that's being brought up in the live chat, Bob first mentioned it, and now I've got Jack also mentioning, with being a friend, how do you get from being just a friend to more than a friend and get out of the elusive
friend zone? Yes.
The ever elusive friend zone wall. How do you get over that?
Well, I can't personally say that I've had any success with that. That also has a lot to do with the fact that I haven't really tried. A lot of people say marry your best friend, and I think that might sound cliche, but it's really true. You definitely have to be somebody's best friend before you can be more than their best friend. And I would say that just always being there for them in more ways than one definitely help with that. Can't really think of anything deeper than that right now, but that's just my 2 cents.
So I'm going to answer kind of that question in my perspective as well. Someone asked me once, they said, Olivia, how do I get out of friend zone? And I said, your guess is as good as mine, because girls get put in the friend zone just as much as guys do. And it's underrated for women to be put in the friend zone. Because women don't necessarily make it clear that they want to get out of the friend zone. And I feel like guys don't really either. But then at the same time, here is the way to get out of the friend zone. And I'm gonna put it out there. I'm gonna be completely honest. You communicate your feelings. If you like someone as more than a friend, you tell them. Really, the worst that can happen is there's this awkward thing that goes between you and your friend for a little while, and then you're able to laugh and move past it. Really, if you are good friends with this person and you tell them, hey, I am interested in you as more than a friend. What are your thoughts on that? It's like, you're going to be like, well, me too. Oh my gosh, this is awesome. Let's try it out. Or you're going to say, you know what? I'm really not interested, but that's flattering. Let's just keep being friends. And really, that's all it is. You're putting your heart out there. You're putting yourself out there. You're saying, you know what? Here is what I want. Is that a possibility? Is this something? And then you kind of get yourself into that situation. Another really good thing is, if you're friends, then you're hanging out and you're going on, you're hanging out, you're spending time together. The easiest transition, if it's a guy and a girl, or 2 guys and 2 girls, I don't care, whatever it is, when 2 people care about each other and when they truly do love each other. I think that when you're friends, you do love each other. And there are so many different levels of love. But if you really do love each other and you enjoy spending time together, then you're going to be drawn to continue spending time together. And you are going to, you have this weird grin on your face, and I am having a really hard time. I think that you continue spending time together, the easy way to transition from that is to ask the other person on a date.
Yeah.
Go on dates. But then here's the thing, you have to communicate that they are dates.
Yes.
If you're just hanging out and it is two people hanging out, you could easily both like each other, but not know where the other person is.
Yeah.
And then your brain is still stuck in this, I'm in the friend zone, whatever phase. And then like, it's ridiculously hard to transition out of. If you want to get out of the friend zone, it is as easy as simply communicating your thoughts and your feelings. Because once you do that, you are putting yourself in a position where you are either going to get out of the friend zone because the other person feels the exact same way and just didn't know, or two, you are going to know that you are only friends and you can move past it and there's no wondering in your mind and you can like someone else without any problems, without any issues, without any concerns. So that is how you get out of the friend zone, guys. You simply communicate. And I think that goes for girls in the friend zone, that goes for guys in the friend zone, that goes for friends who are trying to maneuver this weird thing called life and love. I 100% agree. You marry your best friend, and so you need to be friends with this person, and you need to get to a point where you are best friends. You need to get to the point where you are talking on the phone for 3 hours every night because you didn't see each other all day long and that's what you want to do. You need to get to the point where you are on Skype because you want to see each other, but you're across the country because of something. You need to get to a point where you Snapchat all the time because that is the way that you communicate. And you need to get to the point where you are making efforts to spend time with this person, both in a group and one-on-one. And if you want to get past being just friends, then you need to do that and then do it more. But do it in a way that is being communicated as interest. Just say, hey, I want to take you on a date. Is that okay? If you call it a date, that immediately implies that you are wanting to spend time with this person one-on-one. A date is not something you do with a friend. I have one guy friend that I've ever hung out with who told me that we were going on a friend date.
Oh.
This was a dear friend of mine. He knows who he is, and I'm just not going to mention his name because out of respect for him. And he's a dear, sweet friend of mine. We ended up dating for a little while, but he he would take me out on dates and say, we are going out just as friends. We are going out just as friends. And occasionally he would go on plural dates where it would be him, me, and my best friend. So there would be the three of us that hung out, and he was taking both of us on a date at the same time. And that was, I was like, all right, you're not interested in me because we're going on plural dates. Like, you're taking me and my best friend out. And then I was thrown for a loop because then he made it clear that he did like me. But the thing was, we did communicate. And the reason why we were able to get past that friendship to actually dating and being in a relationship was because we communicated. I communicated my frustration with the lack of communication up front. And I mean, that ended up being a big thing as to why we are no longer dating. It was a big deterrent for that. But I think that it really does just, in the end, it's all about communicating. If you communicate with someone, then things will work.
Yeah, definitely is.
So yeah. Okay. Do you have any other thoughts as far as friendship at any level? Or maybe another book that outlays a really good friendship?
Not currently.
Can you think of any literary stories of friends turned, like, from going from the friend zone to out of the friend zone?
Harry Potter.
Oh, that's a great one! That's actually the same one I was thinking of. I'm glad we are connected at the brain.
Yes.
And we were thinking the same thing. Why don't you tell a little bit about that story? Everybody knows the story, but tell it anyway.
So the people we were talking about specifically, and I was not picking my nose, just so you people know. Ron and Hermione. Probably.
They're such a good love story.
Yeah. Most people know the story of Harry Potter. They come together in the train and just become great friends every year. over the years.
They come together on the train, and nobody likes Hermione.
You know,
That poor girl.
they all thought she was ugly.
That's so sad.
Yeah, it's terrible. Anyway,
Oh.
over time, their friendship grows, and I don't quite remember what book it's in because it's been a long time since I've read Harry Potter. But they kind of eventually cross that boundary, and it takes a while.
Oh, it takes a good long while.
Several years. I think Harry Potter takes place in the early 90s. So you do the math. It was like 5 years before they even got anywhere close to becoming more than just friends. I've also been receiving messages. Another good literary story, Pride and Prejudice.
Oh my gosh. That's also just, I
Um,
have so many gripes with that story, though. Like, okay, so Pride and Prejudice. If you have read the book, then you are familiar with the whole story. If you've seen the movie, you are not familiar with the whole story, because unless you've seen the BBC version of Pride and Prejudice, you are missing so much of the story.
Yeah.
So I love the other versions. They're great. They tell a good story, but they don't actually showcase the friendship. They don't showcase the transition there. You really just kind of see people that hate each other. Excuse me. You see people that hate each other, and then all of a sudden they love each other. And it's like, hold up, what happened? And like, you don't get to see this transition. You don't get to see the change in mentality that takes place. And there is communication. That's the thing. Like, there was the friend zone. Like, you were kind of, and actually they weren't even put in the friend zone. They were put into like hating each other zone. And I mean, Lizzie full on like hates him and tells him to his face when he tells her that he loves her. She's like taken aback by it because he's kind of been a jerk.
Yeah.
And then, you know, he's just like, well, I'm sorry. But then, like, he kind of walked away and he was angry, but then later on he writes this letter to her and he kind of explains everything. She challenged him on a couple different things that were the reasons why she disliked him so much. And then he was able to write a letter, which was a really good thing. He was able to calmly collect his thoughts, figure out everything that she had accused him of, and then was able to write down a good letter that explained everything. She got that. And that letter actually really did change her opinion of him. Not the first part, because I mean, there were a couple things that she accused him of and he admitted it, but the reasons for the things that she had accused him of, they were good reasons, and she came to understand them. And once she understood him a little more, her opinion of him changed. And then she was able to witness him in situations that were very different, and he was trying to make sure that she knew that he wasn't the person she thought he was. And he realized that he did behave the way that she thought he did.
Yeah.
And so then there was just I think she communicated to him how little she thought of him because of the way that he had behaved. He realized that what she had accused him of was true. And he went forward and tried to change himself, not for her, but so that nobody else would witness that same thing. Yeah. And then when he ran into her again, which was a complete shock, he was then able to express that. And I thought that that was really cool, to be able to see that transition. And again, I think it really does go to communication. They both were able to communicate themselves in moments of anger, in moments of frustration, in letters that were very calmly and collectively able to express themselves, and then to be able to continue that transition as well. So I think that's a wonderful story. And they really did. I mean, the story ends up so good, and I think that it is wonderful. Another story, if we're going to the classics, is Jane Eyre, guys. So I decided that I really wanted to delve back into Jane Eyre. It's a book that I had read a while ago, and I'd seen the BBC Masterpiece Theater version before, and I decided that was something I wanted to do over Valentine's Day, was re-watch the movie and revisit the story. But I couldn't find it anywhere, and then you did, and I was very grateful for that. I still haven't watched it.
You probably should.
I need to. I probably will. I don't know. Probably tomorrow night or Wednesday night.
Okay.
But it's a wonderful story of this woman who she got a very hard life. She got handed a very, very sad twist of fate. And and she just through it all somehow managed to maintain a good person, like a good outlook on life. I mean, she struggled, and she definitely dealt with bad things, but at the same time she put herself in a position where she was still able to find joy and beauty in life. And I mean, just the transition from where she was at the beginning of the book to the end, it's very, very powerful. And I think it's a story not so much of getting out of the friend zone. Well, I mean, it kind of is.
I can't really contribute to this because I haven't actually read or watched.
Oh my gosh, Jane Eyre is such a good story. Guys, read the book. Oh my gosh. It's decided. I'm reading that book next because I want to reread the story. The book itself is beautiful. There's a reason why the movie has been able to be done so well. There's a reason why there's several versions of the movie done, because it is a beautiful, beautiful story. But I think it really does showcase how to love yourself first, and then how to help someone else love themselves, and then be able to then fall in love. And I think that's kind of the story that Jane Eyre is. It's very much Jane realizes how to love herself and how not to care what other people think about her. Yeah. And then she's able to help Rochester find the same things in his life, because he was really struggling to really think well of himself. Yeah. Everyone else thought well of him, but he was struggling to have he was struggling with his own self-identity. And I think just because she was so sure in herself, he realized that was something he wanted in his life. And so then he was able to transition to that. And then he was attracted to her because of that. And it was kind of a forbidden love thing. There's some other stuff that goes on. I don't want to ruin the story, because if you haven't read it or seen the movie, you need to. I highly recommend, if you've never seen it before, watch the BBC version, because they stay so close to the book. That's one thing that I love about Masterpiece Theater. They really do follow the book. They take the time. They do, a short series. Pride and Prejudice, it's a 6-hour-long version because it's 6 episodes. Each episode was about 50 minutes long. And so you've got 6 50-minute episodes that then tell the whole story. You're able to follow along. If you were reading the book while watching it, you wouldn't really miss much, which is really cool. And they do the same thing with Jane Eyre. So I think that's really, really cool. I had Jack ask, are letters a good form of communication? What would your opinion on that be?
I feel like a lot of people think they're old-fashioned. Personally, if I could find the right person, I would totally write them letters, even if I only lived like half an hour away. Because there's something a little bit more personal about writing a letter rather than like typing one up or sending an email or something like that. I feel like if they're like romantic letters, that people are kind of pouring more of their heart and soul into it than any other form of communication.
Yeah.
I wish more people would write letters to each other, because that would lead to great stories for their grandchildren.
I agree. There are a couple different things that popped into my head when that particular question was asked. There's actually a book. I cannot remember the name of it for the life of me, but it's a book that was put together by the daughter or granddaughter of this couple after they passed away. But it was an older couple who, before they got married, wrote letters. And then after they got married, the husband wrote a letter to his wife every Wednesday. And it didn't matter where he was or what he was doing. He wrote a letter every single Wednesday. And those letters were super cool. And then it's like in this book and you get to read all the letters. Oh my gosh, I was in love. I cannot remember what the book is. And I didn't actually read the whole thing. I only read bits and pieces of it, and it was due to a class. It was part of a literary class. But it was an interesting book to read. So I highly recommend it. I'll figure out what it was, and then I'll link it down below in the description, because it was really, really great. Another thing to kind of answer that question, I have a box downstairs in my room of letters from different people. And they're letters that anyone has written me. I have love letters. I have a rap that one of my friends. So a coworker wrote me a rap to tell me that he liked me. And I thought that it was so cute. And not only did he rap it for me, but he also wrote it down and gave it to me. So I still have a copy of it. And I've held on to it because it holds a very specific memory to it.
Mhm.
And it's really interesting when you read something, especially when it's handwritten. There is so much emotion to it. I love it. Any birthday card that I've received that has an actual handwritten message on it, I've kept those. Any thank you cards or any kind of anything that was given to me that has a handwritten message on it,
Mhm.
I've kept, because I feel like they hold so much emotion to me and they hold a memory of something in my life. So I would definitely say that letters are a good form of communication. And that idea of writing a letter every single week to the person you love, I think is something that I'm going to do. I'm probably going to wait until I get married to start that.
Mhm.
But I think it is something that I'm going to do because I think it's a really good way to journal a little bit of your
Mhm.
life. And then it's also a really good way to let that person know every single week that you love them, that you're thinking about them.
Mhm.
Sometimes he mailed them and sometimes he just gave them to her. The third thing that popped into my head with that question was, when I was younger, I was challenged to write my parents a letter every week for an entire, what was it, like 3 months or something.
Mhm.
I don't think I wrote them a letter every single week, but I tried. And I found was given these little stories that I could like attach. And so when something was going wrong in my life, or if I felt like it was a story that maybe would impact my parents' life, I wrote them each. I gave them the same story, but I hand wrote different letters to each of them and would leave it on their pillow.
Yeah.
And I signed the letter, but like I never expected for them to talk to me back or to like actually anything. But I do have letters from my mom, and my dad wrote me a couple, but my mom is really, really good about that.
Mhm.
And I have letters from my mom that were like, thank you for that story. It really did impact me. Thank you for the letter. Like it really did. You put time into writing that. That's how you showed me that you love me. My biggest love language is quality time. And I think when you're putting quality time into handwriting a letter, that's a huge thing.
Mhm.
So definitely, I say letters are a great form of communication.
Amen to that. It's 10 o'clock.
Someone's John says, why write a letter when you can text?
That is so John.
John, come on.
If that's the John I'm thinking of,
It is.
that's definitely him.
I love John. I don't think he was on when we were talking about how much I hate texting.
She hates texting. Don't text her. She won't text you back.
I really won't. Today, I actually spent a little bit of time responding to text messages. But that is not normal.
I would probably recommend emailing her instead, because that's probably a more effective form of communication. Because texting won't work.
I actually will respond to your emails. I really like typing.
Mm-hmm.
I actually love typing. I love the feeling of having the keyboard, and actually being able to type.
Mm-hmm.
I hate doing this, but this I don't mind at all. Emails are great. And then I can also print them out, which is nice.
This is totally off topic, but if you had an iPhone, you could text on your computer.
I know. I've thought about that a couple times.
But I digress.
I like my phone. I have everything else Apple, but I don't think I'll ever switch to an iPhone. And if I do, I will curse the day, because then I will have transitioned to the devil. So, okay. Are there any final thoughts that you have as far as your water is? Oh God.
I thought there was still more.
You want some of mine?
No.
Any more thoughts on? You know what? Someone actually said that they find letter writing a lost art, and I agree. I think that it is something that needs to be brought back as something that shares.
Mm-hmm.
I think it really does help people feel like you love them and you care about them. So I encourage letters. They're wonderful.
I think a lot of my opinion on letters was influenced by a picture I saw yesterday of a typed letter that a guy sent a girl he was interested in. It was really funny to read, but that kind of was like, I think that's something people need to do more, and I want to do that myself. I'll probably learn how to write better and make my writing more legible, because it's not. But I would definitely write letters for sure.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I think having correspondence between two people, if you ever end up, getting married or being in a long-term relationship with someone, to be able to have that correspondence to look back in, that's so cool. That is one thing that I do appreciate about texting, is that you can look back on that. My best friend, actually, we created a scrapbook for her husband when they got married of text messages that they had sent back and forth the whole time they were dating.
You told me about that, didn't you?
I did, yeah. And I think it's super cute, and it was definitely something that I appreciated. It's not necessarily something that I'm really good at, but I don't know. We have Lady Catherine de Bourgh's ghost commenting. I'll show you these comments after. I'm not going to do that here on camera.
No.
Sorry, Lady Catherine. I apologize. Are there any final thoughts that you have on friendship, as this was it kind of turned into...
Ships in general.
Yes.
But not the kind you sail on the sea in. No, I think we touched on everything. Not exactly everything that we discussed before, but everything that makes sense to talk about.
Yeah. If you were to leave our listeners with one final piece of advice on this topic, whether it be the way that we started or the way that we ended, what would it be?
I would definitely say always stay in touch with your friends, because you never know how they'll uplift you or influence you, or how they'll change you.
I think I completely can reiterate that. Make the effort to keep in touch with friends, because making the effort is putting forth the effort in any kind of relationship will further that relationship and make it better. So that is what I would say. Don't encourage them, John.
John, you're terrible.
Okay, so we're going to end the podcast now, and there is one more question that I have to ask you, and a question that I get to answer myself, and that is, what is your weekly obsession?
My weekly obsession is my favorite song that I talked about earlier. It's Victorious by Panic at the Disco. I would definitely say that it's worth a listen to. I feel that the bands that I listened to in high school are kind of, some of them at least, are making a comeback, and their music is really good.
I think that's awesome. My weekly obsession, I've got 2 YouTube channels that I've just recently, one that I've just recently discovered, and one that I am rediscovering due to The Amazing Race. Guys, The Amazing Race is just starting, and it's got a lot of amazing internet people. You've got Instagram models, you've got Viners, you've got YouTubers, and I mean just a wide variety of social media people who are on this particular season, and it's super, super exciting. And I'm actually really excited to watch this particular season, because I know more than half of the people on the show, because I've watched them for a long period of time. You've got Tyler Oakley and his friend Corey. You've got Jocelyn Davis and Aaron Robinson. You've got these 2 that I have been obsessed with this last week, Matt Stefanina and Dana Alexa. They are 2 of my favorite dancers on YouTube. And just due to the fact that they are on The Amazing Race, I decided to go back and look at some of my favorite old videos of theirs, and then also kind of get back in touch with them a little bit and see a little bit more. I've been watching some of their tutorials, and I've been learning some of the dances, just because it's a great way to work out. And so that's something that I've been doing, and I've been obsessed with them all week. I also discovered this new girl on YouTube. Her name is Erin. She's 18 years old, and she does amazing makeup tutorials. They are amazing. They're all cosplay type makeups, and I just wanted to show a couple to the video audience. She is on YouTube. She's called Fresh Blush, and she is just phenomenal. I'm going to show a couple of my favorite makeups to the video. My favorite from her is actually this Jack Skellington. She did an amazing, amazing job of that. She's also done a mermaid. With this particular mermaid that she did, she put actual pearls on her face, and like glued them on her face as part of the makeup. She did Red Riding Hood, and she actually did some scratches from the wolf for a more gory take on that. She did Frankenstein's Bride. She did Poison Ivy. Yes. She's done Yzma. She did Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn, I think, is probably Harley Quinn and Jack Skellington are probably my favorites by her. But they are amazing, and I am obsessed. I literally watched probably every single one of the tutorials that she's done.
I believe that.
Because she's amazing. She just does so much. And it's so cool because she's able to make things so different. She does not look like herself, which is really, really cool. I think makeup is such a powerful tool, and she uses it right. So I think that's just awesome. I'm very much in love with her, and I'm kind of obsessed with both of those channels. So I 100% say go for it. Check them out. And please, please, please do it. So I think that's everything. There is one more question that someone would like me to ask you. Would you say Mr. Collins or Mr. Darcy?
If we're talking about Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, which was very, very fun.
Oh my gosh, it was hilarious.
I'm gonna go with Mr. Collins just because he was played by an actor that I really enjoyed watching. And he was a hoot to watch. But if I could be like one of them, I'd rather be like Mr. Darcy.
Oh, 100% Mr. Darcy is my favorite. And I think that's how we're going to end this particular episode. I've got a lisp apparently. So thank you so much for watching, you guys. I really have enjoyed having you on here. I love watching the live chat every single week. It's one of the reasons why I do this live, because it is great to be able to have those. If you do have questions, for those of you that are watching this after it's live, please post all of your comments in the description or in the comment section down below, because I do want to answer. I try and take time to go and respond to your comments, so please do that. I would love to hear what you have to say. Also, if you have any particular books that you would say are really good example of friendship, please post those in the comment section below. I want to go back and I want to read them. Lord of the Flies was one of the suggestions, as well as some others. So I'm really, really excited to be able to continue reading and growing and being able to improve my friendship skills with all those that I come in contact with due to the books that you guys suggest for me. And if you need any good book suggestions, come back next week, because we're going to have a new topic with some new books, and we're going to have an amazing time learning some new things. So remember, guys, smile. Don't forget, stay beautiful. Know that I love ya. Bye.